Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. We're watching a clip of First Things First with Nick Wright, talking about Caleb Williams, and Ryan Leaf made a statement saying that 75% of what made him great in college is not transferable to the NFL. I broke this down just earlier today with regards to Colin Cowherd discussing this, and Colin seemingly agreed. I understand where they're coming from, but if I have to sum up my take, and I'm not going to, right? It's not going to be this short little clip. I'm going to unpack it more, but because it's a lot more nuanced than that, but I disagree with that. I understand what they're saying. He obviously can't play like he played in college in the NFL, but this idea that just the vast majority is not transferable to what he can do in the NFL is just silly and absurd. I'm really curious to see what Nick has to say, because Nick is obviously a massive fan of Patrick Mahomes, and everyone just keeps talking about how Caleb Williams is essentially nearly identical to, they're identical to one another, Caleb Williams and Patrick Mahomes. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. I try not to predict the future in that regard, and I don't always love comparisons in that regard either. But I get it, because it does help put a frame around a picture. When someone reminds us of another player, we're not saying that they're identical or that the same or that they'll have the same trajectory, but it just helps. Those comparisons definitely can help, just kind of help us understand what we're seeing. But I have some pretty strong feelings with regards to this, and it's less so about just these individual players like a Caleb Williams or a Patrick Mahomes, and more around the structure around them. So we'll see what they have to say, and then we'll break it down from there.
Your reaction? It's just totally wrong. It's just I like Ryan. I respect Ryan. That sounds to me, and I don't think this is Ryan, but it sounds like someone that has only watched the highlights. The highlights are just college stuff, and maybe a few if you could in the NFL, but it's going to be hard because the stuff that we run during the show, they're awesome. Like, oh my God, he's running around, he's doing crazy Johnny Manziel stuff. Yeah. Last year, his down year, in a clean pocket, 292 pass attempts, 75%, 10 yards per attempt, 22 touchdowns, 1 turnover. Give me a break. Just give me a break. Now, is there some...
This is one right here.
Yeah, this is one. This is like a Mahomes one, but also will that work in the NFL? I get that. The only knock on Caleb, other than the off the field, which isn't really off the field, it's just people are like, trying to find ways to say I don't think he's man enough because he cried and because he paints his nails as an homage to his mother. Or they don't like the fact that he made $10 million and lived in a sweet-ass condo in college, but, good for him. The other thing was, and when I say Mahomes-esque, Mahomes, his last 2 years at Texas Tech, was sacked 64 times. People are like, oh, he's going to, he takes too many sacks. But if you listen to him talk about it, or really the people around him talk about it, was he knew if we don't score, we lose. So I am going to try to hang in there and make every play. Caleb last year was sacked 54, or the last 2 years was sacked.
I have to pause real fast, because why is that okay for Mahomes? Granted, this is college, but this is literally why Josh Allen has a huge percentage of his turnovers, is because he knows if he does not ball out, then the Bills don't win. But instead, Josh Allen just gets blamed for, his own decision making and stuff like that, which is part of it. But the fact that he doesn't get that grace, I just have to point out, because if you can say that though about Patrick Mahomes in that context, then you can say the same thing about Josh Allen with the Bills.
Caleb was sacked 64 times, Mahomes 54 times last 2 years. Pardon me. Both, 27 a year versus 32 a year. Point being that Caleb's doing the same thing. USC's defense was so bad that he had to try to make every play. This idea that he can't play from the pocket, it just, to me, I watched him. It's not what I saw.
Well, no, I think you make some good points, and I think he had to play like that, which is one thing I like and I think will help him at the next level, is he didn't have all the best receivers in the world, the best offensive line in the country. He had to make a lot of those plays on his own, all right? I like that because I do think sometimes We'll see if it continues with the Bryce Harper. But sometimes
Bryce Young.
Sometimes your receivers are so great, your line is so great. You're at freaking Alabama, and everybody's wide open the first or second option.
All right.
Mac Jones.
Sorry.
I'm just saying though. So notice a lot of the top quarterbacks come from programs that aren't the most touted in the country. So I like that. I do think, Nick, there is some legitimacy to, like, the stuff about 75% of what he does can't do in the NFL. No, you can't do it because we see Mahomes do it. All right, so we know you can do it. But I do think, Nick, there is legitimacy to him being more on time. And it's not that he hasn't done it at all, but I think that's going to be one of the challenges or one of the things he has to learn and get better at is to be more of an on-time passer in the NFL. And then when you need to do that stuff that he does so well, that's when it'll be good.
Okay, so this is what I want to break down now. Okay, the more I think about it, and this is what I said in my other clip with regards to with Colin Cowherd, is the more I think about it is, I think Patrick Mahomes, no matter where he got drafted, was going to be a great player, okay? He would not be an elite, next level, potentially the GOAT player if he did not get drafted to Andy Reid, okay? Patrick Mahomes would be in a similar situation to a Josh Allen, maybe even a Joe Burrow, heck, maybe even a Lamar Jackson, where it's just trying to play hero ball, trying to do everything they can, constantly be put in a situation where you just got to go. Do these magical Mahomes plays 10, 11, 12 times a game. That is in Patrick Mahomes' DNA. And it was Andy Reid that was like, yo, I know you can do this amazing stuff. I know you can throw for like 10,000 yards and 100 touchdowns. I know you can do it all. But that's not how we're going to win. We have to be smart. We have to we have to play situational football. We have to take care of the ball. We have to do all these things. And, that's how we are going to consistently win. A couple times a game, we are going to call upon you to really do some magical stuff. And, please, by all means, go do it. But also be smart about it. And every time Patrick Mahomes started deviating from that and started getting sloppy, his mechanics started to getting wonky. He tried to play hero ball. He tried to keep pushing the ball downfield. Andy Reid was there to be like, no. We got to bring you back. We got to bring you back. That put Patrick Mahomes on the trajectory that he is in now. Okay? Something that a Josh Allen does not have. Okay? Or he only had it for like one season. And it matters. It matters. When you have such pure, raw, insane talent and athleticism like a Patrick Mahomes, you need a brilliant coach like an Andy Reid to put it all together, to put the frame around the beautiful picture, okay? You need a frame around it to contain it, right? That's why pictures have frames on it. You need borders around it. Otherwise, it actually is difficult to look at in a lot of times, depending on the artwork. And so that's what it ends up being, okay? And so with a Caleb Williams can follow multiple trajectories. He could be one of these gunslingers doing amazing things, like kind of like a Brett Favre type player, although obviously different skill sets, where it's just like, all right, whatever. Hey, man, we're either going to win or lose, but it's going to be by my hands and feet. Like I'm just going to go for it. Or it's going to be smart, intelligent football where you're called upon doing match stuff. They don't rely on Patrick Mahomes to be throwing the ball 40-some times a game after game after game. That is the brilliance of Andy Reid, right? They call upon Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts sometimes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Allen. They're always calling upon these QBs just to like go. But it just so happens that the best quarterback in the NFL right now is they don't do that. I mean, like, think about that for a second. So Caleb, in terms of this 75% of what made him great in college is non-transferable to the NFL. If you want to say that he can't do all that magical stuff and can't win all those games by doing that 75% of the time, sure, I can get behind that because it wasn't even good enough for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes changed his game. He used to try to do all these crazy things. Again, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a game. Now it's just like 1 or 2. He plays differently now. He plays smarter. Him and Andy Reid developed that relationship and developed that trust. So Caleb Williams can really go one of two ways. He could become like the Brett Favre type place, or the next evolution of that, which is like kind of like a Josh Allen. Or if he gets right with a smart coach, which I don't know if he really has, whether it be the head coach or the OC, that says like, this is what we're going to do. Caleb, you are a freak of nature. You can do such amazing, extraordinary things. But I only need you to do this like once or twice a game. Otherwise, I need you to just do the fundamentals. And when you do the fundamentals, do them perfectly. Because again, that's what makes Patrick Mahomes so next level. He does the basics. He does the fundamentals. He does the elementary work like perfectly. Like 99.9% success rate. A lot of quarterbacks don't. A lot of backup quarterbacks. That's why they're backups. Because they can't even do the elementary stuff consistently. And a lot of times, if you have a backup quarterback, it'll be maybe because they can do the elementary stuff consistently, but anytime you ask them to do a little bit more, they just can't. They either just can't or they fail spectacularly. Or you have a backup quarterback who can do some of the most magical things where you're like, oh my God, right? When you see some of this mania, right? Where you're just like, oh my God, who is this? How is he only a backup quarterback? Did you just see that throw? The way he escapes the pocket? Oh my God, that's unbelievable. But then they also can't consistently do the fundamentals, the elementary aspects of the game consistently for whatever reason. And that is what makes like a Tom Brady, but now specifically like a Patrick Mahomes, so amazing, so brilliant, is that he can do the football 101 day in and day out and do it effortlessly, perfectly. And then when called upon to be like, okay, man, you got to do the thing that no one else can do, he can do it. And even he can't do it every single time, of course, but he can do it at a high enough rate that makes him the Patrick Mahomes. Caleb Williams has that potential. But again, the problem is that when you can do such magical things, it's so easy to rely on that and to build your whole identity around that. And this is the example that I use. It's very similar to like a teenage pop star, okay? Justin Bieber. I know this is going to sound like a silly example, but it's real. When you're 14 years old, and you are literally worshipped and told that you are a god, that every single person loves you and thinks you are just the most amazing human being alive, it's hard not to feel that way to the core of your being, for you not to go through life now as I am a literal god. And that's why those people end up being so messed up as they get older. You know, and that is what Andy Reid did for Patrick Mahomes. It was like, you are a freak of nature. You are a god. But you know what? I need you to be human. I need you on the field to actually be human. I'm going to call upon you to be freaking Thor and to, call upon the lightning every once in a while. But otherwise, I need you to just, put on a suit and tie and put on your glasses and take your calculator out and get to work. Just do the normal, general, boring stuff. If you can do that and then randomly turn into Thor every once in a while, golden, we're going to win. But if you try to be Thor every single freaking day, every single play, you're never going to get out alive. You are going to end up like, a Brett Favre, which had a great career, awesome, exciting, but clearly didn't win as much as many other quarterbacks, aka Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, even Peyton Manning. So those are the difference makers. So I understand the hesitation about a Caleb. I do, because he's not, to me, any of these players, they're not inevitable. In football, it's different. No player really ends up being just straight up inevitable, especially specifically with regards to the quarterback play, because there's just so many variables. And the more I watch football, the better I mature in my own opinion of it, the more I think we have to realize how crucial coaching is. And to just act like that coaching hasn't had a profound impact on Patrick Mahomes is just dead wrong. And even Tom Brady with Bill Belichick, I mean, he put it out very clearly that even though Bill Belichick is a defensive coach, he taught him so much about defense and how to read the defenses that is a huge aspect of what made Tom Brady who Tom Brady is. He got to learn from the best defensive mind in the history of the NFL. So they had their weekly meetings, or however times they would often meet, where they would break this all down, and he would be able to be like, this is everything we can throw at you. So this is what these teams are going to throw at you. I know how to beat you. I'm Bill Belichick. This is what I would do. These are your weaknesses. These are things that we're going to do. So he knew he could improve. He can rise everything else up. It had a profound impact. Tom Brady without Bill Belichick would not be as good. Let's not even just say that they wouldn't win as many championships because of their good defense. He just wouldn't have developed as good of a quarterback because he learned a tremendous amount from Bill Belichick. That is where you're at with Caleb Williams. He needs to be molded. He is just a hunk of clay, an amazing hunk of clay, as weird as that sounds, and he needs to be molded. And the biggest fear is that he's going to the Chicago Bears, and that's the problem, honestly. So it's like if he doesn't hit the ground running and doesn't succeed right away, I feel like a lot of haters or the Ryan Leafs are going to be like, I told you. But I guarantee you, if he went to a Sean McVay, a Shanahan, an Andy Reid, Sean Payton for that matter, he would have wild success and then would be inevitable in that circumstance. But, he's just such a raw, insane piece of talent that when he does try to play hero ball, he needs to have a coach that says, you got to listen to me. You got to humble yourself. I know you're making all the money. I know you're in all the commercials. I know everybody wants a piece of you. You got to trust me. And that is what Patrick Mahomes had to Andy Reid. Not only does Andy Reid had the resume at the time, but also just a physical presence, the dominance. He's just so physically massive to begin with. And it's just like Patrick Mahomes was able to look at Andy Reid and say, I will do whatever you say. I trust whatever you got. You are the leader, right? Caleb Williams is not entering that situation. In fact, I probably believe that Caleb Williams is probably thinking, I know more than the Chicago Bears. I know more football than anyone in that organization. So to me, that's actually the scariest part, and the more unfortunate part. Hopefully he's humbled. Hopefully he can find the nuggets of wisdom, even in a coach that may not be perfect and obviously not as good as, say, an Andy Reid, but he needs to learn, he needs to grow, and hopefully, he can do that because he can be such an exciting and fun talent to watch for years to come. And I would hate to see that squandered. We're seeing a lot of it squandered with players like a Josh Allen because Josh Allen has never been truly unleashed. Can you imagine how exciting it would be to watch Josh Allen with a Sean McVay or a Shanahan or an Andy Reid? Oh my God, that football would be absolutely insane. Instead, he's out on an island in a winter storm with Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills. And you know what? It's not hard to imagine that happens to Caleb Williams in Chicago. But we shall see. What are your thoughts? I would absolutely love to hear your ideas on this one. Do you think what Ryan Leaf is saying is true? Do you think Caleb Williams has bust potential, that he may not really actually be that good in the NFL? I would love to hear your thoughts. If you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing, please let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So also, if you think what I'm saying is amazing, then also please let me know. Love to hear the positives. Either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really, really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.